Hello and welcome to another episode of Metagame Weekly. Today I'm going to show you guys how to play safe in PvP. And of course today we're playing on a 4-player map and that can be really difficult, especially because of the scouting. Sometimes you don't scout them in time, sometimes you just don't get the scouting at all, because if you scout them in the last location then the mothership core will deny the scout. But I'm going to show you guys what I usually do to be safe against most stuff. And of course this build is this is the build that kind of favors the better player. But if you're playing a player that is maybe better than you, then you shouldn't do this because this is a safe opening. And versus a better player, you wanna, you wanna cut some corners that will give you an advantage. And that is when you probably wanna cut your mothership sometimes to go a fast Stargate or something like that. So when you're playing a better player and you know you're gonna, maybe if you know you're gonna lose, try to cut some corners and get the fast tech going. Maybe go for very fast nexus and so on. But for this replay, we're gonna open up safe with a 9 pylon, 13 gate, 15 gas and a 16 gas. So we're gonna go gas heavy. And there should be a gas down anytime soon. 15 and 16 gas. Followed up with a 17 pylon. We usually make a 16 pylon, but if you go 2 gas, you have to make the pylon on 17, because otherwise you'll be cutting probes. So here's the 16 and 15 gas. And of course you want to build the pylon behind the mirror line, because if you build it behind your mirror line, you can hide your tech. Maybe try to defend it with the Nexus cannon as well, because let's say if you build it in the corner, then if he foregates and you have a Dark Shrine on the way, then he can actually kill it, because the Nexus cannon is only 13 range. Now I say only, but you know what I mean. It's 13 range, it can't defend this area, so you don't want to be proxying it too much, too far away from the Nexus. But anyways, as soon as you have your Cyber Core, you want to put 3 on gas, and then begin to scout. Of course, if you scout right after your Cybernetics Core, you can scout him in the first location. But if you scout him in the last location or the second location, then the mothership will kill your probe, and that is why you're gonna be careful not to lose it to a Stalker or a mothership core. So with this build, as soon as the Cyber Core is finished, you wanna Chrono Boost the mothership core and then start Warp Gate. Behind this, we wanna be going for a Cybernetics Core. And because we cut the Stalker to build the Cybernetics Core, we actually gonna have a really fast 7H core, which means that we can actually defend any kind of early game pressure with gateways, because you're gonna get the blink faster, or if you choose to go for Dark Shrine, then you can get the Dark Shrine so fast that you can try to counterattack before he kills you. So here's how you should scout. After you put down your Cybernetics core, you're gonna scout a location, and of course if you see this, then you're gonna pull back immediately if you see the mothership core. We see Chrono Boost on the Cyber Core, which means this might be some kind of some kind of gateway attack, because you usually only go Warp Gate on that. So that is why we're pulling back, because there could be Stalkers and Zealots on the way. And then we send a new probe out. So behind this, Blink is a very good option versus Stargate, but of course you want the Robo for detection too. So what I usually do, and this is really important, I build the mothership core Twilight Stalker. So my Twilight is really fast. But then, instead of a Robo, I choose to go for a Sentry, because if you go for the Sentry before the Robo, then you won't have detection out in time, which is of course not good versus DTs, but it is actually really good if he goes for a Oracle, because then you can cancel this Robo in time. Because Oracle usually hits when you have 120 energy on your mothership. Usually that is about 615, and sometimes 630 if it's a cross like this. So as you can see, the Oracle should have hit by now, but it didn't. And now we find out it's DTs. And we are not gonna cancel the robot because we know it's DTs now. So what you want to be doing here, as you can see, we're floating a lot of minerals, but that's because we have sentries to block the ramp. And then make sure to look at the ramp sometimes, because if you know they're pulling back and they had 3 or 2 Dark Templars, then you know it's gonna be Archon because they are committed to this. A Dark Shrine is very expensive early game, so you know it's gonna be Archons. And this is really important. As you can see, because we got the Stalker early, we got the Blink very fast. And notice that I'm not going for the Nexus Cannon immediately. The reason, so basically the reason I don't Nexus Cannon immediately is because if you delay it as much as possible, then you kind of buy time. This pylon is not dead, it just took some damage and some shield damage. But you still have the pylon, which means we didn't lose it, and we bought 10 seconds of time, which gives us 10 seconds more to stay behind the Nexus Cannon while we can try to warp in. And the reason we were floating a lot is because we were going gas heavy things like and sentries and observers. So with this, you gotta make some zealots, but you wanna mainly build stalkers. And of course, an immortal deals bonus damage to armored, which is the stalkers, and that is when you wanna have a immortal too. So you can see 100 energy. We're gonna Nexus Cannon one more time, but just remember to focus fire. As you can see, even my opponent, I don't know if you guys spotted it, but he focus fired my immortal, and that is when you wanna be retreating. So we are harassing the middle line. Just remember, buy time with your Nexus Cannon. Don't use it immediately, and then try to do as much damage as possible. This army movement was kind of weird, but I was trying to blink down, but it didn't. But this is how you should do it. Delay the Nexus Cannon as much as possible. Like if you don't lose your pylon and you don't lose your mothership, then you don't need to use it. So you're gonna try to take the shield damage as we did on these stalkers, get down as much as possible, and then use the cannon. Behind this, I always want one probe out on the map because this is basically the winning move. With a pylon, we had 3 zealots in his mirror line. As you can see, there's no dark shrine, so it must be proxy. And of course, with the one pylon, he's not gonna be defending because he's gonna take damage no matter what, and he's all in on this. So when you play against Protoss, always try to have a probe out on the map. No matter if it's Stargate, Robo, or Blink opening, it's always good with a pylon out on the map. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below and subscribe for more awesome StarCraft 2 content.